Here is Representative Lauren Boebert, and she is
newly divorced or on her way out.
Despite her religious values, she has forsworn her marriage.
I just do think it's interesting that both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert are getting divorced. I don't care about that. I mean, I'm sad their well, I don't care. But at the same time, like, it's just interesting. They're in very conservative, traditional marriages, and once these women get a little bit of power and prestige, their relationships with their husbands kind of fall apart.
I gotta say, I mean, I think in this respect, Steven Crowder is probably correct. I think we see the danger of women getting power. Mm-hmm. They start to believe that they no longer need to be married to men, and this is a real problem within the United States. I mean, it's a lack of values where these women they don't realize what their primary responsibility is to their family.
Exactly.
And so in this respect, I think, Steven Crowder's warnings as to what happens when women don't act in a wifely manner.
This is a test case. That's Lauren Boebert here.
Yep. And here's Lauren Boebert. She is interviewing Dr. Kevin Duane, owner of Panama Pharmacy in Jacksonville, Florida. Is Kevin Duane complaining that he has to give birth control to people?
No, this is a hearing about third-party benefit providers.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
And she just goes off and tells a story about her own birth control experience, which has a lot of layers to it in terms of the American psyche, I think.
But do you see that patients leave their prescriptions at pharmacies because they can no longer pay for it?
They absolutely do in my pharmacy. Yes, that happens more than should make anyone comfortable.
I actually have a fun little story. My staff is probably going to talk to me about this later, but I left a prescription at a pharmacy once. I went to get birth control, and I was there at the counter and went to pay for it, and the price was very, very high. I said, wow, is this a 3-6-month prescription? No, ma'am, this is 1 month. And I said, it's cheaper to have a kid. And I left it there, and now I have my third son, Caden Boebert. And so I'm actually, it turned out to be a really great thing. But I personally experienced that when times were tough. But thank you so much for your indulgence there, and talk to the team about that comment later.
Okay, there's a couple of things to be that's interesting here. Obviously, she should look into the Affordable Care Act and its provision to provide birth control.
What's her position on that?
That would be something that she could actually work on as a lawmaker.
Instead, she just, as a lawmaker, has introduced a bill to defund Planned Parenthood, and she also voted against a resolution called the Right to Contraception Act last year. So
interesting. Must have been a problem. And I'll tell you something. What I cannot stop speculating in my head about. It is a weird story for her to tell. It is completely. It reinforces an entire issue set, as you've laid out, that she seems to have been against. The idea of making it more affordable for women to get birth control. Mm-hmm. If she experienced this. In addition to the fact that we should bank this, because when they start to vote on bans on birth control, this will be important to assess too at that time.
But that's her framing. She's saying it's a good thing.
Well, yes, she's saying birth control is a good thing. She was obviously seeking it.
No, that it's a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise. Blessings come in ways that you might not necessarily see at the time. I can't afford basic health care, and now I have a child, and so it all worked out. God willed it as such.
I think that I take that more as she just didn't have the option, and it turned out good because you had your kid. It's always hard to sort of look at your kids and say, I'm unhappy I had my child here. But I can't help but think that maybe she just said that her third kid was a mistake, and maybe in the course of her divorce, she was sending a message to her ex-husband That was not the love child you thought of.
I think you're overthinking it just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, she is conceding that the child's a mistake.
Well, no,
right?
she said that she made a decision that it was cheaper to have the child than to get birth control, right? That's what she's trying to say?
I don't know. Let's play that again.
All right. Right.
But do you see that patients leave their prescriptions at pharmacies because they can no longer pay for it?
They absolutely do in my pharmacy. Yes, that happens more than should make anyone comfortable.
I actually have a fun little story. My staff is probably going to talk to me about this later, but I left a prescription at a pharmacy once. I went to get birth control, and I was there at the counter and went to pay for it, and the price was very, very high. I said, wow, is this a 3-6-month prescription? No, ma'am, this is 1 month. And I said, it's cheaper to have a kid. And I left it there, and now I have my third son, Boebert, and so I'm actually, it turned out to be a really great thing, but
I think she was rolling the dice,
experienced that,
to be honest with you.
When times were tough. But thank you
It's
so
wild
much
to
for
say,
your...
like,
No,
I'm
but-
glad I was price discriminated out of that health care
That's
I
what I'm
wanted.
saying. So the guy was trying to say, or the expert on the panel or whatever was trying to say it's horrible that people are unable to afford their prescriptions. She's like,
Right.
actually, it might be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean that you can only try to make that argument with something like a child being born. You can't say like, oh yeah, my a headache medication or
Yeah, my blood pressure medication was too expensive.
Actually, it
or
was
my
good that my
insulin
heart
was
was-
too expensive.
Right. I mean, I'm unable to actually get medication for, say, my psoriasis, and all of this scaly stuff on me. It's just a blessing
yeah,
from
actually,
God.
it's really good for like defense against people attacking me.
I mean, like, this is how contradictory. Well, it's actually not contradictory. This is what their worldview is, right? They have no incentive to make birth control and healthcare more affordable for people because they want women to see being having children against their will and keeping them in their homes as a blessing. Just be grateful that you have this beautiful baby. That's what you're supposed to be grateful for, as opposed to like other ambitions that you might have in life, other financial issues that you might have to deal with because of this child. Those considerations should take a back seat, stuff them down in your chest, and become a mother, because that's the most noble pursuit that a woman can have. And it's a way for them too to square being the pro-life party with advocating for price discriminating privatized healthcare that makes it so there are a lot of people in this country who can't just not afford birth control, but can't afford life-saving medications for pre-existing conditions and things like that.
Illuminati Kid says you have to remember Boebert is a teen mother who is now pro-teen pregnancy. She is backhandedly saying that making birth control easier to afford will allow more teens to not have kids.
Yeah, it reminds me a little of like some of the stuff that Sarah Palin was discussing with relative to like her own daughter, and how this is just something that you have to go through with it. If you get pregnant, no matter what the obstacles are, this is your godly duty, and any other consideration is frankly selfish in the eyes of the Lord.
Same also with high blood pressure.
That too.
If the Lord gave you that, you should really see it as a blessing.
Natural selection.
Punch Drunk Pulpit. Sam, I lost my job today. Can I get a shofar for everyone pushing the rock up the hill, trying their best to make life for themselves in this effed up capitalist system? You may. Gerald from New Orleans. In 2 days, I will no longer be 50. Instead, I'll be in my 50s. I will have also been a member for a year. Here's to many more such years. Left is best. And you guys are the best of the best. 2 days. Here, we'll give you this in advance. I still can't help but think that it's related to the divorce. I know.
You have divorced spidey senses?
Yeah, you know, there's just like,
He got bit by the divorce and now you see it all.
It's just a weird story to tell, because ostensibly she's trying to say, like, I've been there. Right? I mean, this is like like we're touching on how this is sort of like it's doing the reverse of what she set out to do.
She's also just dumb.
Well, I know that's true, but I also think she's vindictive, and because dumb people tend to be a little bit vindictive, and she's trying to say, like, I've been in that exact same situation. but it worked out great. Like, she's trying to be on both sides of this equation. So why would she tell a story? Why wouldn't she just say, like, I've had to do that? You know, I received prescriptions. They told me it was for, I said, is this a 3-month prescription? They said, no, 1 month. And so I walked away. I've been there. But she had to say that it was birth control and about her child, which is probably true. And I get the sense that she is, there's something there.
All right.
It's just, I got my
The submerged divorce angle.
Yeah, exactly. Take it. You know, like once you go through a divorce, you realize like there's no stone.
no low.
There's no stone left unturned.
Can't wait for 10 years from now. Sam's doing the divorce report, the hidden divorce angle of all politics.
All politics. That will be my men's rights stage that I go through.
The debt ceiling and why it's actually about a couple bad divorces.
Bradley fan club says, respectfully, Sam, this is the most divorced you have sounded since I began watching the show in 2017. Left is best. That was right around the time that I got divorced.